Hello, everyone, and welcome to Soul Channel. Soul Channel is a place to gather, raise consciousness, normalize spirituality, and change the world. And I am so excited to bring our guest, Lee Ann Heltzel, to everyone today. She's going to share her brilliance on MetaInsight and her paintings and her channeling and her wisdom. And Lee Ann, by trade, is a visual artist, art director, graphic designer, and marketing guru. Her multi-dimensional marketing firm, Creative One, caters to conscious creators and leading edge thinkers, where she taps into the highest potential for a brand through her signature MetaInsight process. Having been the recipient of this MetaInsight process, at least a piece of it, I can tell you it is one of the most powerful catalysts that I experienced in my formative business. It put me in the direction I needed to go and gave me insight on how it was going to unfold. And Lee Ann was born a creative empath. She's an explorer of human potential, helping others tap into the power of their creative genius and imagination as tools for personal growth and the expansion of one's intuition. Lee Ann channels MetaArt, abstract frequency paintings, as alchemical meditation tools. And they are incredibly powerful. I'm excited you get to experience them. So to get us started, before we bring Lee Ann on stage, I want to do a very quick drop-in meditation to circle us up and bring us present. So if you can gently close your eyes or lower your gaze, get comfortable in your seat as you ground into this present moment. Feel your feet on the ground as you connect in with the earth. Breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Maintain this cadence as you feel your body in the space that it holds. Feel the energy at your crown chakra as this chakra opens and activates to new levels to receive that which wants to be known in this time together. Feel yourself enervate, settle into this moment, bring everything close, and know that this is your time to listen, observe, and receive. And when you are ready, open your eyes and come present to this moment. Thank you, everyone. Hi, Lee Ann.
Hi, Teresa. Thanks so much for having me on. And everyone, thank you so much for being here and taking the time out of your day or if you're watching this later on in the recording, I really appreciate it.
So how did you get into the artwork as it is in its current state, and how tell us about the meta insight. There's so many questions that I have for you, and let's start with that, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely. I know in my bio, it uses that phrase, human potential, and so, just kind of looking at my life as an overview from that perspective, we're always expanding our human potential, whether we're conscious and aware of it or not. And so my story, my kind of timeline was, you know, born an empath and spending a lifetime discovering what that really means. And so I lived my life. I felt like in silos. There was this spiritual Leanne that traveled the world and worked under gurus and had these very big spiritual experiences and focusing on that expansion. And then there was the Leanne that was the mom and a single mother at that, and working always in advertising and marketing. And so in that process through life of just discovering, who I am, which we all are doing, right? We spend our lives uncovering that. I I found that I had an organic gift to help people cross over through the death process. So a death doula from the side of spirit. And I did not want to do that. I discovered that in my 30s, and it was like, seriously, like because a lot of it's like kind of dark, right? Or it can be really sad. And once I realized that was just a stepping stone, that if I owned it and honored this capability, that more would come. And if that's all I did for my whole life, learning that that's just an amazing gift to have. Many times souls don't completely cross over, and oftentimes that can happen in things like suicide or very quick violent death, that type of thing. So I spent many years working with crossing souls over. I still do that work, and it was in 2010 that I started my own marketing firm, and I just said to life, I didn't say it with a plan, I didn't vision board around it. I just said, I don't want to live in these silos. There's like a whole group of people that know me from this spiritual seeking, and others that know me from, just making sure that catalog gets to the printer on time, right? And so I just wanted to fully be me. And what organically happened was I realized, and when I say realized, it's spirit speaking to me, life coming through me, that, oh, when I'm assisting a person that's crossing over, I'm going into a different dimension of them, a higher dimension of them, or a multidimensional space. And I can do that for really anything or anyone. And so I started doing that with my marketing clients, and actually at first not sharing that, and then very quickly realizing I need to share that. So that's where the meta insights come in. And what those are is, it's me having a conversation with your highest self. And I refer to it as your fully realized divine self, because it is a dimension that exists. It's a space where the world as we know it, everything, every sentient being, and everything on it is fully enlightened. And so it's like, I always tell my clients, from sitting across on them, on Zoom, it's like, okay, it's not like you're asking me a question. It's like you're asking your highest self a question. And then it's the transmission that comes through me, the words that come through me from that person's highest self or fully realized divine self. And so that's kind of where it started, was in my marketing business. And now, I mean, I just kind of, do it all the time for whoever is seeking. And so that's basically what that is.
I love that. And as I said, I experienced that with Leanne, and the connection I was able to make through her words and her energy to what my soul wanted me to know and what my soul wanted me to be was transformational. And I understand it's in the realm of marketing and brand, but it's what you said. It's taken all those silos and collapsing them and saying, here's the whole human being, right?
Right. And I'll correct you there, because
Yeah.
they're not my words. They're your words from you to you, right? It's just
Yeah.
the highest dimension of you. Because whatever comes through, I do not change a word. I, you know, because it's not for me. Obviously it's coming through my filter of, my brain, but I'm very, I make sure to articulate only what I'm given, because it doesn't need to even make any sense to me. I've had some really, what seems like really silly things happen. One time, a woman, because I have a conversation, it starts with a conversation, and is there any questions you have, anything you're seeking that I should be aware of to take into that conversation? And one woman said to me, I'm not telling you a thing. She wanted to kind of test me, I guess, right? She's like, yeah, I'm not going to tell you anything. Just see what you get. And through the entire, because I go in several times, I say I'm going in. And I was just always called to, oh, I need rose quartz. I need to be holding rose quartz, or I needed a rose. I was drawn to roses through all the times I was getting this transmission, and shared that, because everything gets shared. And then we have a follow-up call, and she said to me, well, 4 months ago, I changed my name. My name used to be Rose. So it was just like, so it's like, yeah, okay. Because I could have gone, what do you supposed to be holding rose quartz? Like, I could have easily not done that. Or so I take everything in, because again, it's not for me. And the other beautiful thing that can kind of be hard to understand is that the information is multidimensional, just like you're multidimensional. And so you can read it, when we read something or hear something, because I also send it now in an audio, our brain makes sense of it, right? Our brain's going to kind of go, oh, I get that paragraph or whatever. But what happens is, so often I hear this happening 6 months from that point, a year, 3 years from that point, something happens in life and it's like, oh, that's what that paragraph or that page was talking about. Like, because we're always shifting all of our multidimensional aspects of ourselves, right? So it is really a conversation or a transmission that grows and evolves with us.
I love that. Thank you for correcting me and clarifying, because maintaining the purity of the message and translating from the soul on all dimensions, that's huge, Leanne. That's what a gift. So thank you for being courageous enough to step into it.
Yeah, and so often people come with, I'm at a crossroads in life. Should I do A or B? Why is this happening in my family? Whatever. And that first conversation, when those things are relayed, ultimately, it's really just that person giving me permission to go into that divine space that is them, right? And oftentimes it's not do this in that relationship or do make that choice. It's not that. If you could talk to your highest self, it's going to be a profound answer, right? It's going to be so much of the time they're like tools that come through, tools of perception, tools of activation, within the person, right? So that those life elements that are happening in their realm, that they're dealing with it from a higher perspective. So it's not like going to a medium and saying, left or right kind of thing. It's profound. It's profound information that is coming from our highest spaces. So our fully realized divine self isn't so much concerned with, do I take that job or stay in that other job kind of thing, right? This is why this is occurring in your life right now. And these are the capacities that you have that you're ready to step into. And that's really all of my work, whether it's the marketing or the meta insights or the paintings. Those are really the three realms. It all centers around stepping into that space using, everybody knows, like, we use 10% of our brain. Well, utilizing the 90%, because what that is, it's capacities that we have that as we evolve as a human being, they come online. These capacities and abilities are coming online. And so it's unlocking those. And so it's a very inward journey. And and we, life is a reflection of our inner journey, right? So these things that kind of happen in our life, yeah, they really matter and they're really important. But this is more of the bigger potential that we have to step into, to really allow those capacities to awaken.
Oh, thank you, Leanne. I love that because I agree. I think it's the being that is essential. The doing, you can do whatever you want, but who you're being and what you reflect into the world is how to affect the greatest influence, not only on your life, but what you contribute to society. But it always has to start here.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we all have different ways of getting into that space. And for me, it's always been through creativity. I've always been a creative person. And so all of my work revolves around unlocking this capacity that we have in us. And for me, it happens through creativity and imagination. And so it's on my website. Einstein believed that the creativity and imagination was actually the key to his success, because we have to be able to function, not only see outside the box, but function outside of it, right? Because that's where the tomorrows are. That's where the new potentials lie. We don't create tomorrow inside the box. If we want a new tomorrow, we have to create outside of it. So to me, creativity and imagination are gateways into higher consciousness, where we can feel into and explore different potentials and surpass what came before, surpass who we were before, and step into that new iteration of that's getting closer and closer to that fully realized divine self.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So tell me how you moved from the Meta Insight process, which was this incredible incubator of helping people step into their fully self-realized experience in this human body, to the amazing artwork, such as what we see behind you.
Yeah, interesting because none of it was anything that I said, you know what I think I want to do. Like, there wasn't a plan. I didn't have a roadmap. I had an experience, gosh, I think it was over 10 years ago. I was in Mexico, spiritual retreat, one of my many ones that I was on. And I had this experience that all of a sudden every single meditation, and that's pretty much all we did there, was this painting of myself as a dragonfly, and my arms were the wings, and this experience was so profound because every time I went into meditation, I was either the painter, the subject on the canvas, or I was the canvas, or I was the paint. And so I went home, and there was like literally nothing for me to do but buy a canvas and paints. And I did go to art school, but it had been well over 20 years that I had picked up a brush. I'm a graphic designer, so everything I do is, on the computer. And I painted this painting, and I do not remember. I have no recollection of actually painting it, and I know, like, I shouldn't have been capable of painting it because I hadn't painted in so long. And it was such a profound experience that I said, when I retire, I should do more of this. Because in my head, it was like, no, I own a marketing firm. Like, that's frivolous to just like paint, right? So what happened organically was, okay, so I'm doing now these meta insights for my marketing clients. And I always started there because it allows me to function from this very high potential, rich space, whether it's a company that one person owns or a company that several people own or are the key components to. I view it as, if there's 6 people around a conference room table and they're the key individuals in this company, that their souls, their fully realized divine selves, are all meeting at a juncture point where they've agreed to bring this company into form. And so I call that the creation point. So I'm working from there. So it's this step one that I started doing with all my clients. And can you imagine like companies going, okay, like let's do this, really kind of woo-woo process, but it allows me to create anything that it needs to be created, branding, website, whatever, from this highest essence of the individuals in the company. So that's what happened. And did that and just knew, there's something more I can do. And there's more. And so in 2017, I heard, get rid of everything you own, get on the road. And so I did that. My kids were grown and not living in my same town. My elder generation had all passed. So I was engaged and I had stepped out of that relationship. So I could do that. And so I told my clients, hey, if you want to work with me, not over Zoom, but face to face, give me a place to stay and I'll come to you. So I did that. And my first client said, that place you go on my behalf, because of the meta insights, take me there. I want to go there. And so it was like, oh, okay. So that's what I was able to do. Because what I've learned consistently, and I know too, Teresa, is when we surrender. So when we say like, all right, I'm showing up, I'm going to do this next evolutionary step that I'm capable of, then life brings it to us, right? So I'm like, okay, let's do it. And so I started doing that with my marketing clients, having these 2-3 day retreats where we're all together going into this liminal space. And the best way to describe that is to think of it as, okay, so we know how to meditate, right? In our meditation, we're walking along the beach. Your brain is at the beach, right? There's not a difference in that. We're doing that all together. So if there's me and one other person, if there's me and 10 other people, we're building this experience together and having all the same experiences. So that communication that I would have with their fully realized divine self or selves, they're having for themselves. So that was the next step. But then what immediately happened was, you can take that frequency from that liminal space that you're all swimming in, and you need to bring it into this reality,
Right.
into form. And so it came through as these abstract paintings, and automatic, in the sense, if people are familiar with automatic writing, they're automatic paintings. And so even though, yes, I went to art school, no artistic talent is needed. You're simply listening to source, telling, okay, the next step is this, the next step is that. So I started doing these paintings during these retreats for my clients. And so they would be able to take those paintings then, because the painting becomes a portal to get back into those meditative spaces that we were in during the retreat. So that was the beginning of the paintings. I would create these paintings and the clients would leave with them. If there were 3 clients on the retreat, there'd be 3 canvases and they would each leave with one. But then what happened, interestingly enough, a few months before COVID hit, is I heard to have that same communication with a specific frequency. And it was the frequency of peace. So I got that information that came through, and I could feel it kind of like align within me. And then I painted this frequency of peace. And it really kind of was interesting then, not because now it is COVID and I have this painting that I'm meditating with and all sorts of stuff is happening. I'm feeling like every cell in my body is resonating with peace. And so then I started discovering that, there's an ancient Sanskrit practice, and actually through every major religion, of an open-eyed meditation, right? Meditating on a candle, meditating on a crucifix, whatever. Mm-hmm. And so that started to, oh, all right, that's interesting. Then understanding that these paintings allow this frequency to enter our retina, to our hypothalamus, and it goes directly to the pineal gland. So the frequency can come into our human biology and bypass the intellect and address the pineal gland, our physical opening to our own divinity. And so then it was like, okay, this is like the most important thing that I can do, because these paintings can be hanging in a room and affecting the energy, the frequency in the room, therefore all the individuals, or they can be meditated on, and they really do become these esoteric, like alchemical tools to go into that frequency and allow it to support that development, that evolution within us. And so, as if that wasn't cool enough, because again, I'm along for the ride, right? I hear bring in sacred sound. So like, well, I don't know how I'm going to do that. I'm not a musician. And within 24 hours, met this musician over a Zoom call, much like this one. And I reached out to him and he said, this is so interesting because I've had a dream always of working with an artist in a certain way. And so he kind of had it laid out. I sent him paints that I intuited I was going to be needing for the next painting, which was love, the frequency of love. Sent him these paintings. He put them on a cymatics table for 6 weeks, hitting them with the Hertz frequency, the 528 frequency of love, and read this, MetaInsight's transmission, did his intuitive practice of developing the music. So that was that interaction. There's a painting that to heal. I knew for over a year I was going to channel the frequency to heal. And that music came through a very, very gifted woman that does audio toning. So for the 4.5 months that I painted, she was on Zoom, because we're across the country from each other, toning as I was painting, and then she cut the final track. So it's just been this journey of kind of getting the next task to do and saying, yes, I'll do this.
Yeah.
Yes, I will do this. And again, it's happening because I'm utilizing creativity and imagination. Those are the two components that we have only as human beings, right? That we can work with creativity and imagination to bring in what is next in our human evolution. And so all of these things, the transmission, the paintings, the immersive meditations that I do with people, they all use those two components, creativity and imagination. And I go back to a study that was done in 1968, was developed by NASA, and a team was hired to determine the creative genius of their staff for whatever big project they had coming up. They wanted to have the cream of the crop with the most creative genius. And so this test was done, and they determined who to put on the project. But then those same scientists took it to children. They wanted to see through the developmental process of a human being, like, is there a predisposition of being a creative genius or not? And so they started with children 5, 10, 15, up to 30. And the 5-year-olds were functioning with a 95% creative genius. By the age of 10, the same children, it knocked it down from 95% to 30%. And by 15, it was 12%. And by the time they were 30, what this scientific team believed was adult, 2%. So when we're to the point in our life that we're capable of making a contribution that can really serve humanity, we're functioning at a 2% degree of genius that we were born with. So everything that I do, it allows us to just swim in that creative genius that we are, but that, just life in all its conditioning or belief systems or subconscious or, all of that stuff strips us of. And so, but the beautiful thing is, we were there, we can easily get back there. And so that's the beauty of these paintings, is they just can very softly and organically unlock things within us. And it can naturally flow back into our life. Yeah, that's what's so exciting for me. Because we have this capacity. And what I'm finding too is that neuroscience, we know that science and spirituality have always been like this, right? And it's getting closer and closer and closer. And so there's this neuroscientists are studying creativity, or studying the arts in general. So, my way in are paintings. Anything creative that we do are ways in. And so there's these scientific studies that are confirming that that we're wired for art. And when I say art, again, it's not just visual arts. What I do, it's music, it's poetry, it's writing, it's all of that. That utilizing the arts improve our physical and mental health, and amplifies our ability to kind of manage our biology, recover from disease, enhance our brain development, create the world that we want to create. And so I love that science is starting to actually kind of quantify what being in these creative and imaginal spaces are really doing for us. And to me, it's like, yeah, it's awakening that creative genius in us.
Yeah. It's the portal to the divine you. And LeeAnn, I am so grateful. There's so much rich wisdom in what you just shared, from, just the affirmation, just to take one step and allow the universe to unfold what is for you, to tapping into it through the creative imagination, expands it from literally 2% to 95%. Who doesn't want that, right?
Exactly. We want to be working on all cylinders, right?
Yeah.
And so this is from one aspect. It's almost like, looking at a diamond, and there's all these facets. And so there's so many ways we can do that by, focusing on how we take care of our bodies and our inner temples, the self-care. That's a facet. This is a facet. And so one of the things that I do when I have people come and retreat with me is we go into that liminal space, that meditative space, multiple times, so the person's engaging with their fully realized divine self and feeling the potential, not just having me do it and then having an audio of it, which is the starting point, but to actually feel it for themselves. And then we mirror that with the process of them creating their own automatic painting, and feeling that power and that creativity course through them. And that, because that's a whole nother thing, right? This oh, well, I can't, I'm not an artist, I can't even draw a straight line. Pet peeve of mine, because neither can I. Right? Like, what art is a straight line? So it's breaking through and doing these paintings, so the person's actually painting their fully realized divine reflection. So they have a meditation tool, but it's that experience too, of feeling that energy flowing through. Yeah. And the bottom line is too, this is joyful, this is fun, this is freeing, this is existing outside of this kind of box that we live in day to day. So as much time as we can get outside that box, using our imagination and our creativity, I think that there's statistics that show that by doing one painting or one creative act can add 10 years to your life, because we're allowing, really, for this divinity to flow through us. So
Wow.
it's amazing. And again, these the neuroplasticity, the creativity and imagination engages, and it develops like actual new connections in our brain and enhances cognitive flexibility. So it isn't even just having a creative experience, it's changing our brains, and it's helping our emotions, and it's creating a new channel, right? Because in our brain it's all these, like, I was going to say ruts, but they're not ruts, like channels, right? And
Yeah.
so we need to create new ones, and get out of those same frame of thinking.
Patterns. Yeah. The patterns and the perspectives that we've buried ourselves in because they're familiar and safe. And
Right.
to go outside of them is a little bit scary and unfamiliar. And so we don't naturally tend to move outside our comfort zone. So I have to ask, and I'm mindful of the time, do we want to experience this? Do we have enough time, LeeAnn?
Yeah, I mean, so I have a meditation that is love. I kind of have that queued up. I here's my thing. I'm thinking it's a YouTube video. You can share that when you send the recording so people
Okay.
can experience it. Well, we could do that. We could do a meditation. Or if everybody's up to play, we could actually do an immersive meditation. And so how about if we let the group decide? Because what that requires is taking your microphone, turning it on, and creating that liminal space together and having an experience together. And so one would be very passive, you sitting and enjoying a piece of meta art and its sound, or us all coming together and creating a collective experience together. So how about if we do a vote?
So who would like to have a collective experience?
And we've got some
Yeah.
people with no cameras, so yeah.
Yeah. I think that's an excellent idea because we can share the YouTube video and they can experience love on their own.
Right.
And thank you for offering that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, and so when you do get that link, it does say it in the video, but you're going to get the painting as big as you can. So if you can get it on your smart TV, and you're going to use headphones, and I'll send a couple because you can use those, you can share them. I have a lot of therapists that use it for their clients, and so yeah, let's do that. People can play with that. So to do an immersive meditation, again, I'll need everybody to put their to unmute, and if you want, you can turn your camera off. It doesn't matter. We're going to go and we're going to close our eyes and we're going to go into a meditation. I'm going to start it. I'm going to kind of drop us in to the physical space, in this liminal space. But then the beauty of this is that makes it so different is everybody's going to contribute to what they're seeing, feeling, sensing, hearing. And what's going to happen and we're just going to be able to do it obviously for a few minutes, but what happens is people start seeing the same thing. Like Janet might say, oh, there are the most beautiful white fluffy clouds. And then Lori may say, oh, a bunch of seagulls just flew past, but like Vicky saw those too. She was just getting ready to say it. Like we start having the same experience. So since we have very little time, I'll keep an eye on the time because our eyes will be closed. But please, please, please contribute, because it's that contribution that builds it. And please speak up, because a lot of times when we're in a meditative state, we're not used to talking. And so we kind of talk like this. So we want to, speak loud enough so that everybody can hear. And so whatever somebody contributes that they see, you imagine what she or he is seeing. If somebody hears something, you hear it as well. So we build the space together. Any questions? All right. Well, people are
All
muted.
right.
Got
Let's
them
get
muted.
off mute, you guys.
Yeah, and again, if you want to turn your camera off, that's fine. And we're just
Awesome.
going to and if there's any sounds in the room, um, that's okay. That's just part of the experience. All right. Okay, so everybody close your eyes and take a nice deep breath in and out. And really feel where you're sitting. Feel the air around you, the temperature. Really get into your body, into this liminal space that we're in right now. Feel your feet on the floor, your back against your chair, wherever you are. Take another deep breath in and out. And just see nothing. Just see the darkness, that like a blank canvas that's before you as your eyes are closed and it's dark. And now take another deep breath in And on this exhale, in your mind's eye, you open your eyes and look down, and we are standing in the mud. We are standing in the mud of a great big field. And in this field, we are surrounded by the most beautiful, beautiful wild horses. So we're standing in the mud where they have trod, where they have been running back and forth, and their hooves have kicked up the dirt. And it's rained recently, so it's wet and moist and muddy. And each of us are in our bare feet. And we're just standing around taking in the magnificence of these animals that are just watching us, curious as to why we're here. And so I invite you to share as you look around and take in this space. What do you see or feel or hear?
Sun.
Mm.
I feel the warmth of the sun.
So it's a nice, warm, sunny day.
Yes.
So let's breathe into that. So there's this heat of the sun just beating down on our shoulders, and how good that feels. How good that feels to have our feet in kind of this, kind of cooler, wet feeling, and then this beautiful, beautiful sensation of the sun warming us. What else?
I see hay that had been stuck in the mud. So pieces of hay is around us.
Mm. Nice.
I see grass. I can smell grass, wet grass.
Mm.
I can
Mm.
see a frog.
I hear birds song from the forest nearby.
Wonderful. Is it a sing-songy sound, or is it more like a cawing?
It's more like robins in spring.
Mm. That's beautiful. So it is feeling more like that, maybe like a later spring day, when all that mud is the result of the snow melting and is still cool, but the day is nice and warm.
I see two boys with rain boots on and two metal buckets in their hands, like coming out maybe to feed the horses or gather something from out there where the horses are.
And do they look like they're hard at work, or do they look like they're just really enjoying their life?
Enjoying. They're enjoying.
Yeah, kind of like almost skipping or running or
Yeah.
playful. Right, right. That's beautiful.
I can hear cows mooing in the distance.
Oh, all these sounds of nature. It feels, how do people feel right now? Does it feel like I don't know, I'm feeling the wildness of the horses. There's like an energy around that feels incredibly free.
There's
And
a gentle
smiling.
breeze. I can feel a gentle breeze.
And I feel so much joy and peace as the sun's hitting my shoulder. Like there's no better place to be than here right now.
Mm.
So connected to the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And it feels so expansive. And
Yes.
it feels like we are very blessed to be having this experience and to be having it together. And just breathing in the air, there's almost like something different in the air. There, like an electricity, like a energy that is feeding every cell in our being. with each in-breath feeling more and more alive, more and more connected to the earth.
I love how fresh the air smells.
Yes. Mm. We turn and look to each other and smile and just acknowledge that we're so excitedly having this experience and taking all these aspects of this beautiful sacred space in together. Wind is blowing through each of your hair, and there's somebody's giggling just because of the pure joy that we're feeling in this space, and all of the sounds and the sensations. Mhm. And so we look back down at our feet and really wiggle so the mud is going up between our toes, and we're kind of grounding ourselves even more into the earth and feeling that sun so warm on our shoulders and our backs, and taking in those scents and the sounds of the birds. And we close our eyes, still hearing and sensing and feeling. And we take a deep breath in. And this fades away into that dark black canvas of nothing. We take another deep breath in. And on the exhales, begin to return to where we are sitting in our chairs, in our rooms, with our phone or our computer in front of us. And one final deep breath in, returning fully back into our experience. And when we're ready, we can open our eyes. And so that was a very, very, very quick meditation. Usually they're about 40 minutes, but it kind of gave you a taste of stepping outside of our life experience and into this liminal space. And so when it's with a group of people, we can have goals. We can step into potentials that we are perhaps wanting to investigate for ourselves. And we can create a liminal space together, almost like a boardroom or a meeting room, where we can meet there and make decisions or have conversations from this elevated space. So that was just a teeny tiny taste, but you can kind of get the sense of how it can feel and how we can begin to have this collective experience.
That was so powerful and so beautiful. And I love how everybody synced up so quickly. It
Right.
was amazing. Thank you, Leanne.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure.
So we have just a few minutes left. Tell everybody where they can find you, and because I'm sure there's people out there that want to experience this with you. So what's the best way to find you?
Yeah.
Anything new coming up that we should know about?
Well, actually, I'm glad you said that, because I hadn't thought about this. So my website is my name, which, is on the screen, and I know you'll put it in the email to everybody. It's LeeAnnHeltzel.com. And, I know you'll include that with any correspondence. And so on there, there's a page for the Meta Insights Creativity Camp is what I call when people come and retreat with me. And then there's the Meta Insight paintings, or I'm sorry, the MetaArt paintings and ocular meditation. There's a whole section for that, and a shop. And actually between now and December 5th, there is 40% off the MetaArt canvases and prints, which is the lowest I've ever, it's kind of like a holiday sale. So that's happening right now until December 5th. But and then of course you'll be, sending along to people these meditations so they can experience the artwork.
Absolutely, I will. I know every one of us wants to go in and spend some time with your genius. Thank you so much for today, Leanne. It was magical and so very special.
Well, thank you. It went really fast, and I hope everybody kind of has a good takeaway from it and that it's blessed your life in some way.
Beautiful. And thank you to everyone who showed up and all of you watching later. We missed you, and I know that you'll love the experience.